I think being of service, we need to be of service. I was at an office earlier today, and on the wall, Albert Schweitzer's quote, that...
My mother always quotes Albert Schweitzer.
Does she really? Yeah. And just that we have to learn, the people who learn how to serve and to give are, I forgot how it goes exactly, but that's really when you've found your mission and your calling in life. I mean, it's, Raji Shri and I are going to put together a woman's event and really empowering women, and we, you hear that so much with women empowering women, but really I'm talking about successful women, empowering them, because I know so many successful women, and there's a shade in their life, there's an area in their life that somehow isn't being honored, isn't being fulfilled, isn't being something to really fully step into all their shoes and all in that way. And I think there's there's still part of a society where women are still being suppressed, and even in the United States and things like that. And I want us to all step forward, because we are not in competition with each other. We are all together to support each other and moving forward. And but anyway, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But this thing with everything that you've been through and how you were able to really continue to support yourself as an artist and keep going no matter what, not allow this situation to become a distraction. I teach a workshop called Oh Hell, How Did I Get Here? And what do I need to do to clean this up and prosper now? And it's about setting our visions, but what are some of the distractions that have prevented us from achieving our visions? And so your thinking enabled you to not become distracted, even though you have this enormous responsibility happening in your life, which is tremendous. And one thing I want to back up, because I want to understand the process that you went through, because you had parents who thought it was a thing that would pass, you being a drummer, and they thought eventually. So as a kid, how did you learn, or whose thoughts did you emulate in order to take on, to keep the belief in yourself, to keep going as an artist, and to not give up and quit and think that you're a cuckoo bird for continuing to pursue this dream? How did you keep going no matter what?
Honestly, as a kid, I don't think I thought that much about it. I think that I was so purely guided by my gift as a drummer that I just kept on doing it, and I never really saw anything else. I think I knew that my parents thought, I'm going to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant. I never saw that. I just saw, I had that vision, being on stage, playing with a big artist, and it was pure. It was pure, it was authentic. It's still pure and authentic. I remember, I tell the story of how I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan when I was, this big, and I saw John and Paul and George, and I saw Ringo, and I was like, fixated. And then I saw the Screaming Girls, and I said, I'm in!
Yeah.
But it was fortunately for me, I had the interest and talent to sustain any discouragement I might have encountered on the way to getting to that goal.
What did you say to people when there was discouragement or people weren't supportive?
Well, my thought was always, if there's a gig out there, somebody's going to get it, it might as well be me.
Where did you get that thought from? I mean, that's a really great thought.
That is probably somewhat divine, because I believe that my gift is somewhat divine. We're born into this lifetime with certain propensities. I was born with a very strong gift of drumming. And I thought it was just my responsibility to make sure, if I'm born with that gift, it's my responsibility then to put that out into the world.
Right.
So as a kid, I was all about that. And as an adult, I'm all about seeing what I can do to take that to turn around and give back to the world. And that's been my shift from childhood into adulthood, I believe. Because and interestingly, it actually took me a lot longer than I thought, because I didn't really have my first big professional touring gig till I was 26, which, that's like dog years, rock and roll years. That's old.
Is it?
In a way.
Really?
Although I'm in my 20th year of touring, and I'm playing with one of the hottest 20-something artists right now.
Yeah.
So the gift is still strong. I'm still there, and I'm present for it, and I nurture it. I allow it to come through me. But I damn well make sure that I give back as much as I can. and that's what's
key.
important to me. That's the key. That's again what I learned is through being an adult. I learned how to be selfless. I was probably a bit selfish when I was a kid, always kind and always loving, but selfish and perhaps, or let me say, maybe just
Blinders?
monochrome. drumming. That's what I'm going to do. And
Right.
also interested in music and production. My godfather taught me how to play cello. I always had a good sense of understanding of pitch and harmony, and would always write songs. So I had an understanding of, and I played in bands very young, and I had an understanding of the compassion of being a good band member. So I guess I can't really say I was super selfish, because I always thought I was a good band member, and that I really respected and listened to my bandmates. And that's what it was. So then I never really saw anything else. So it was bound to happen, even though it took me longer than I thought. I started playing professionally when I was 19, but didn't get my first road gig till I was 26. So with other things I needed to learn. Part of that is I met Dr. Jim when I was 22. I stopped doing drugs. I stopped drinking at the time. And I really started to focus and started to understand what it was to live the life more of a spirit, and live the life more to be of service and more cognitive of ABC, that concept I talked about earlier. And Dr. Jim also taught me a concept called POWER, which is an acronym for positioning, owning, waiting, extending, and reading. And when I learned this foundation for power, I realized, okay, power is about holding your position for what you want. It begins with the P for positioning. Then O is owning. Owning means you own, you take everything that comes at you and use it to make you stronger. So whether it's good or it's bad.
Right.
And I describe that particularly as in my adult life with Kelly and her sickness, really learning how to own all those negative feelings and those negative emotions and using them to make me stronger. And also owning the success. A lot of it is when you have little successes, you celebrate. And I always really appreciated my successes. So one success begets another success, begets another success. And then W is for waiting. Good things come to those who wait. Patience is a virtue. These things are meaningful statements. If you can wait for something, it just makes your life better. The quality of life is better if you literally learn to wait for something. E is extending. That means you extend your energy out to everybody. I was very, very extending. I still am. Even to this day, I'm always calling people, how you doing? This is Mark. You need a drummer. You need a professional speaker. Can I be of service to you? Is there anything I can do for you? Extending to me is what can I do for you, as opposed to what can you do for me. And as an adult, I also learned that, and I really began to appreciate how can I be of service to people. I believe that's one reason why I've worked for so many artists, because how can I be of service to them as opposed to what can they do for me?
Right.
And R is reading, which is paying attention to details. The devil is in the details, meaning what we miss.
Yes,
If
you're
you
very
don't know it's not
detail-oriented.
there,
Right.
you know, if you don't get an audition as a drummer, if you don't get a job when you're interviewing for any company, you'll never know why. But it's what you miss. So reading is really paying attention, and that is something I learned was very, very important when you're dealing with artists, when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with anybody, when you're dealing with an audience, is paying attention to the details and being able to shift and being able to adjust.
And feel the audience.
Feel
not
the audience. A big aspect of intuition, of course.
Oh, yes. Very big.